Tonight I'm gonna have myself a real good time. I feel alive, and the world I'm turning inside out. Yeah, I'm floating around in ecstasy. So don't stop me now. Stop me, 'cause I'm having a good time, having a good time. A shooting star leaping through the sky like a tiger, defying the laws of gravity. I'm a racing car passing by like Lady Godiva. I'm gonna go, go, go. There's no stopping me. I'm burning through the sky, yeah. 200 degrees, that's why they call me Mr. Fahrenheit. I'm traveling at the speed of light. I wanna make a supersonic man out of you. Don't stop me now. I'm having such a good time. I'm having a ball. Don't stop me now. If you wanna have a good time, just give me a call. Don't stop me 'cause now. I'm having a good time. Don't stop me yes, now. I'm having a good time. I don't wanna stop at all. Yeah. I'm a rocket ship on my way to Mars on a collision course. I am a satellite. I'm out of control. I'm a sex machine ready to reload like an atom bomb about to explode. I'm burning through the sky. Yeah. 200 degrees, that's why they call me Mr. Fahrenheit. I'm traveling at the speed of light. I wanna make a supersonic woman of you. Don't stop me, don't stop me, don't stop me. Hey, hey, hey! Don't stop me, don't stop me. Ooh, ooh, ooh. I like don't stop me, don't stop me. Have a good time, good time. Don't stop me, don't stop me. Oh, burning through the sky. 200 degrees, that's why they call me Mr. Fahrenheit. Traveling at the speed of light. I wanna make a supersonic man out of you. Don't stop me now. I'm having such a good time. I'm having a ball. Don't stop me now. If you wanna have a good time, just give me a call. Don't stop me now. I'm having a good time. Don't stop yes, I'm having a good time. I don't wanna stop at all. Da, 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 da. Ha, da, da. Ha, da, da.
Alright. We're back in it. Bit of a weird night. We got big loss by Dallas. Some absolutely weird shit going on Discord. And then to cap it all off, this absolute clusterfuck of a nightmare that's going on Kick right now. So, we'll be talking a little bit about that, and then probably diving into, I don't know, some kind of games or something. Let's get it. I kind of fucked that up a little bit. It's all good. So yeah, one of my favorite Discord servers just fucking dissolved overnight. Not sure what that's all about. I gotta research that, find out why Bowser decided to end it, but he dissolved the server, so no more Koopa Troop. Oh, what up, Nacho? Yo, and then of course we got this fucked up weird shit going on over here with fucking Ice Poseidon and shit. And I didn't even get to offer up my fucking thoughts on it in the space, but I don't hold it against them because dudes had been there for like 13 fucking hours and they had heard hundreds of other people, and I was quite literally one of the last ones to get in there. I did kind of shade him a little bit on the feed, but I really don't hold it against him at all. Dude seemed like he was, AV seemed like he was barely fucking staying awake right there at the end anyway. I think what woke him up was that dumbass kid at the end that was saying how everyone else's ideas were dumb, and then he had nothing to offer. Like, dude, you literally just said the same shit that hundreds of other people before you had said, you dumb fuck. Like, he was literally in there calling everyone else dumb, and he was probably the stupidest fucking person in that whole thing. I don't know, I mean, Poseidon himself is pretty stupid, so it's pretty hard to match that, but yeah, that kid, I don't know who he was, but I feel bad for that kid, because Jesus Christ, that was hard to listen to. But while you're here, Nacho, I guess, this is my thoughts on the whole thing. I talked to Breeze about this. I think it was Breeze. Whereas, like, I tend to try to ignore, you know, the vast majority of the shit that I just either don't agree with or I don't like, right? That's the whole thing of having the, like, freedom of will to choose, like this, don't like that, right? So I ignore that shit. But sometimes there's some shit like this that's just, you can't, right? And the reason being is because it violated TOS. I don't give a fuck if they went through and, oh, she consented to recording and this, that. She consented to fucking sex work on camera. She did not consent to being streamed to 15,000 plus fucking people. She didn't. I watched the goddamn clip. She didn't say that. She did not fucking consent to being streamed. She consented to being recorded on camera. She also didn't consent to other people hiding in the fucking room. Because none of that was ever fucking shared to her. All that she knew was she was in there with him, and they were being recorded. And that he was going to use it at some point for content creation. That right there, when you stop right there, it's weird, it's fucked up, but okay, alright? You hadn't crossed that line yet. Once you fucking did that shit and you put it on fucking Kick, and you had these other cocksuckers hiding in the room, that's when you cross the fucking line. That's when you cross TOS. And every one of those cocksuckers that is in that fucking chat should also be fucking banned. Every last one of those motherfuckers that was egging him on. And I know that includes Eddie. That means that Eddie, if in fact, let's say for the sake of argument, Eddie gave him the thumbs up and said, you know what, guys, in this one instance, we're going to let y'all cross that line. Okay? Fucking own it. If you're going to do it, fucking own it. And promote it. If you're going to be doing fucked up shit like that, own it. And then fucking promote it. Say, look, guys, this is what we're doing. This is the thing. It's happening on this date, this time. Fucking own it. Promote it. But this bullshit of waiting for things to happen and then waiting for the community to react is not going to cut it. That doesn't cut it at any fucking company. I don't give a fuck who be. That's how you shoot yourself in the head. Alright? All this dumb shit about waiting for people to react and waiting for the community to speak up and shit, that is not going to cut it. I don't give a fuck how small your organization is. That ain't good enough. Alright? Eddie has to make a statement. Eddie has to come out and say, look, you may not agree with this content. We'll put disclaimers. We'll do this, that, or the other. As of yet, fucking Zippo. Alright? Now, I'm not going to sit here and harp on the platform because their fucking co-owner is a knucklehead sometimes, right? Because we all fucking go knucklehead sometimes. I'm not saying in that degree, but we all go knucklehead in a certain point of view, right? So there's a lot of shit that I do that people would consider knucklehead shit. There's shit I do that I consider knuckleheaded shit, but I do it anyway. And either it's because I like doing it, I get a rise out of doing it, or for the simple fact that I understand the consequences that are going to occur. And I'm okay with it. I can accept it, right? But this reactionary shit can't, no, you have to be proactive. Especially, the dude said that the head of fucking Corsair wants nothing to do with them as long as they have these cocksuckers at the top like Ice Poseidon and Aiden Ross. And I don't blame him one fucking bit. I'll still stream on Kick, and I'm a fucking nobody. Right? Not even making money from this shit, aside from the graciousness that you've shown me. Right? So, in my mind, it's like, I don't give a fuck either way. Now, as far as the cacophony that's going on around it, and all of the confusion, it's a confusing matter, because you've got, first of all, look at it this way. We're all committing a cardinal sin here in terms of making money. We're combining work, may not consider this work, but those that this is their thing, that is work, right? So you're mixing work and pleasure. Already that's bad, right? If you don't manage it properly, right? So we're already mixing business and pleasure, so that's already a recipe for disaster if things are not managed properly, okay? You have all age groups, whether they would like to admit it or not. There are minors that are watching these streams. They're going into the 18 plus streams. They're going into the gambling streams, and they are watching this shit, whether Kick wants to admit it or not. Look, I was raised, I'm part of that last generation of feral children, okay? We had video games, you know, we were around obviously when PlayStation was blowing up, Xbox first came out when I was in high school, right? So we were around for that. We grew up around it. We grew up with fucking Atari, NES, SNES, and Sega Genesis, and that whole console wars. I was around to watch that shit get started. All right? We have seen some fucked up crazy shit in our time. I was raised in the latter part of the 80s, throughout the 90s, and into the early 2000s. I've seen some fucked up shit, both in person and in the media and everything in between. Now, as far as this shit with Kit goes and Ice Poseidon, I cannot be any further of an outsider, okay? You're talking about someone who streams to one, maybe two people at a time. If that. I don't have sponsorships. I don't have any of this crazy shit. I could not be any further outside of that fucking circle without having not actually streaming on the platform, okay? So I can see this from a complete outside perspective. And I can tell you, the reason that this shit is going on, there's a litany of them, right? But the main two, it's two things. There's two main reasons this shit is occurring, and one of which people to this day refuse to fucking admit. But I'll say that one second. The first one is, again, the mix of views, the mix of ages, you have people all over the planet. So people that don't hold our Western values, and vice versa. There's streamers on the other side of the planet that don't, you know, we don't hold their values, but we're consuming the fucking content. So you have, it's impossible to try to take into account all those perspectives, right? You just can't do it. And try to whittle your way into, you're gonna whittle your way into a niche that's so fucking small, you'll never have any fucking audience whatsoever, okay? But then, the other part of that is the complete, and I'm gonna say complete, but it's going there, the rapid degradation of Western values and the absolute refusal of the populace to acknowledge it. Why the fuck do you think that shit is popular? That shit would not have been popular 25, 30 years ago. It's the shock value, right? So, are we to live in a world where we just progressively get more and more accepting of shocking shit to the point where eventually we're just desensitized to everything, right? That's what we're supposed to do. And just say, fuck it, and just let whatever happen. That's fucking obscene. It's absurd. It's degeneracy of the highest order. The degradation of Western values and the dissolution of the nuclear family are two of the major components of the reason that we're seeing this shit blow up the way we are. That's the reason why we have people like fucking Fauci. That's the reason why we have Aiden Rosses. That's the reason why we have fucking Ice Poseidons of the world. Because there's no family unit. There's no one to check them. There's no one to go upside their fucking head and say, what the fuck are you doing, mijo? Si sabes el pinche, todo el mundo se puede ver a qué estás haciendo. The whole fucking world can see what you're doing, mijo. What the fuck are you thinking? They don't have that. And even if they do, I'm sure they're being bought off. The money means more. So, we currently live in a world of how much do your morals cost? That's all I'm going to say on it. Let's smoke some weed. And also, for anyone out there fucking listening, yeah, right, mine too. No, and see, that's the thing too, like, I'm not gonna sit here and say that I wouldn't accept some fucking huge money for some crazy shit, but there's a line. And that line is my fucking morals, right? And I'm not gonna say that I'm the most moral fucking person on the planet. I'm far from it. But, I mean, I can live in a fucking cohesive society where we all agree that murder's wrong. We all agree that rape is wrong. We all agree that fucking racism and xenophobia are wrong, right? I really don't understand why. I can't figure out for the life of me why people are so preoccupied with wanting to watch other people fuck in the first place. Like, there's so many free porn sites. Just because it's live? Are you serious? Like, that's the big thing. The chronological order of events matters in that regard. Are you serious? Like, yeah, I can tell you this right now. If Kick doesn't get on this and get on it fast, they're rapidly going to turn into the next OnlyFans. Because people are going to see that, oh, hey, I can make sex content, and it's good, and we get exposure, and we make money, then it's going to speedball and snowball into another fucking OnlyFans. I can see it right now. Oh, but the thing I was going to say is if anyone listening right now, this man Nacho, you fucking listen to what this guy is saying. Because this dude is the only one that I've seen on Twitter present any sort of solutions whatsoever. Another thing they need to look into is working with Veracity Tech. And I'm not in here, I like the idea of crypto, but I'm not a big crypto guy, right? I understand the functionality of protocols and how that works in terms of generating value, but I'm not going to pretend like I know all the ins and outs of the blockchain. Now, that said, I do understand a lot about how Veracity Tech works, and these motherfuckers clean shit up. You want bots gone from your platform? You hire Veracity. It's as simple as that. They eradicate bots on a platform in under 24 fucking hours. I don't understand why people are picking them up left and right. If it's a security issue, you throw on some additional security behind their work. This isn't fucking rocket science. Like, and I don't understand how, and I'm sure half of these, more than half, actually, I'd wager like 60 to 65% of my followers are actual people. But then there's that 30, 35%, like I should not have 101 followers and 4 fucking viewers. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that everyone has to come in every time I'm streaming, because I stream every single day for hours. So I get that, right? And I'm not even looking for the audience. But what I am saying is that that's a lot of fucking bots. You know what I'm saying? That I do care about. I don't want to be fucking view-botted. I don't want to be follow-botted. Because then all it takes is one of these fucking first-class people to look at my shit and be like, oh, this guy's view-botting. And I'm like, no, like, there's nothing I can do. I'm sitting here and they're fucking following me. You know what I mean? I'm not actively going through trying to do any of this shit. Like, I actually prefer a small audience. You know, I gotta admit, I don't know what the fuck I'd do with myself if I looked up and there was like tens of thousands of people watching me. You know what I mean? I'd flip out. I'll be honest. But if there was, you know, a few thousand of y'all, that's cool. But a few hundred, that's cool. But to sit here and see 100+ followers and on a fucking daily basis, 1, maybe 2 viewers. That's cool, right? I don't get the bot part of it. Like, get rid of the fucking bots. What are we doing here? Get rid of the bots. Like, I shouldn't have to look up at my follower count and worry about how many of them are bots. That shouldn't be a thing. That shouldn't have been a thing 5 fucking years ago. Much less in 2023. What the fuck we doing? We're almost 2024, for fuck's sake, and we're still fucking around with bots and view botting and follow botting. Like, what? I don't understand what more a company like Veracity has to do other than partnering with, like, fucking Microsoft, which I think they're trying to do, to be honest, but I don't think they're making any headway. But yeah, so Kick needs to get on it. Kick needs to get on it. They need to make it clear that anyone, I don't give a fuck if it's someone like me or someone like Poseidon, if you fucking cross that line, you're done. Period. None of this coddling bullshit, none of this second chance bullshit, and I do believe in second chances, but that motherfucker's on like chance 10, alright? So let's not pretend like this motherfucker has just been barely skating by all these years. This motherfucker has been dancing over that line every fucking opportunity he gets, okay? So, as far as he goes, yeah, he's a problem. I would say Aiden Ross is like a fucking... He's a brand risk. I don't want to say he's an actual problem at this point. He's problematic. But with him, I say he's more motivated by his audience. His is more like mob mentality takes over with him. You know what I mean? He gets absorbed into that. And that, I think part of that is just because he's so young still. I think if he gets older and... I don't know, if maybe someone like Tate, or not maybe even like Tate, but just someone like some sort of father figure, as it were, can kind of guide him. I think he can write that ship still, but he has a lot of fucking work to do. No doubt. I mean, we all have work to do, but some people it's more than others. Generally the younger people, you know. Well, he was, but now I don't think Tate wants anything to do with him. After all that like coming out stream and shit that he did, I don't think Tate wants to have anything to do with him anymore. But I don't know, I might be wrong on that. I don't know that whole situation because I don't keep up with Tate either. Like, I see the little blurbs about him and shit, and I see shit on YouTube, but that's my extent of my interactions with Tate. I follow him on Twitter though, but I don't really engage with his tweets. You know, we see him and that's about it. But yeah, I think I follow both him and his brother. I can't remember. I follow a lot of different people on Twitter though. Like, I don't just follow like people. I follow anyone that I think is gonna have interesting takes, whether I agree with them or not, right? So that's how I feel about Twitter. And like follow for follow on Twitter, I'll rock with that shit all day long, right? But here and like Twitch and all that, I learned my lesson on Twitch, so. Never again. But on Twitter, all fucking day, baby. Follow for follow on Twitter. Hell yeah. On Twitter, it works. Because you see each other's tweets. Right? Here, that shit don't work. Streaming, that shit don't work. I unfortunately had to go through it. Yo, what's up, Bush? Got Bush coming through. Bush1G on Twitch. We're simulcasting, by the way. I'm streaming on Twitch, Kick, YouTube, and Facebook. Oh shit, I haven't been looking at the Facebook chat. Okay, I haven't missed anyone there. Good. Usually Chelsea and Jesse like to stop in and say what's up, but I think it's a little late for them tonight. Jesse, they both got families, actually, now that I think about it. Chelsea probably gotta get the kids up in the morning for school and shit. But anyway, that's my little audience here on Kick and Twitch and everything. I appreciate y'all, by the way, hanging out, chilling. Even if you don't agree with what I'm saying, y'all are, chilling, hanging out. We're about to take some rips from the bong. So, chill out for a moment and watch me rip this hoe. We're gonna grip it and rip it. Nacho already knows what's up. Nacho's seen this countless times. He even egged me on several times, actually. Well, we're gonna get at least a fat bowl out of this. This weed doesn't grind up very well. And in case we got any smokers in the audience, I'm gonna have a quick little bong 101 for y'all. Because I see lots and lots of smoking clips on YouTube and Twitter and here and Twitch. Gotta tell ya, for some of y'all veteran smokers, really look like rookies when y'all smoking this style bong, man. I don't know if I'm speaking to anyone directly in the audience. If I am, I apologize. I won't clown you for it. I'm just letting you know you're doing it wrong. And I'll show you why. Show you what I mean. There's way more involved to smoking a bong than one would think. Okay? First, let me lay out a few things. When you're smoking a bong, if you haven't in the past, bongs are wonderful, okay? Bongs, it's straight to the fucking dome. Alright, there's none of this delayed onset and wait 5 minutes sort of thing. First of all, don't hold it in. I don't give a fuck what you're smoking. Bong, pipe, joint. If you're smoking marijuana, stop holding in the smoke. You don't need to. It gets absorbed into your bloodstream instantaneously upon contact with the pleura. Right? So, that said, you can go through a number of different experiences while you're smoking a bong. Hopefully it's nice and smooth and, you know, gives you a nice experience, but sometimes shit goes gnarly, right? Shit burns, might taste like ass. That could have to do with what you're smoking, but aside from that, mechanically, are you getting your money's worth? Let's find out. So, I have what's known as like, essentially it's just a standard bong, right? It's an Erlenmeyer flask shape bong, right? Simple in design, simple in function. Not so much. Every single fucking time I see someone using one of these things in one of these clips, they're doing it completely incorrectly. For a number of reasons. I'll show you why. And this has a lot to do with your experience that you end up having. Okay? Call me crazy, but do this both ways and then tell me I'm crazy. This has to do with fluid dynamics. Okay? And I'm not fucking joking here. All these people, when I see them smoke bongs, they smoke them just like this. They're set on a table or they're holding it like this. Stop doing that shit. This thing is made at an angle for a fucking reason, alright? And also, you're depriving yourself. Look what you're doing when you smoke like this, okay? What is the goal when you're smoking out of a bong? You fucking light it, and you have to pull the air in and pull hard enough to get it to go through the water to filter it, right? That's the whole point of a bong. Now, the distance in the point at which that air comes out the downstem and your surface of your water plays a massive role in the taste, the feel, how smooth it is, and shit like that, and your overall experience. And most people don't even fucking recognize it. They just smoke, oh, it's a bong, I'm just gonna smoke it. No. Alright? You want to get as much distance as you can between the bottom point of that downstem and the surface of the water, because what that does is it forces you to use greater pressure, okay? What that does in turn is it requires less flame, requires you to actually take your time and burn all of that shit in the bowl. You just sitting there burning that shit out with a torch or a lighter and shit, that ain't cutting it, all right? You're depriving yourself. You're depriving yourself of your high. You're depriving yourself of your taste. You're depriving yourself of the best experience possible. when you're smoking this style of bong, the downstem should be nearly vertical, okay? Not only because of the increased pressure, but the increased surface area of the surface of the water. That makes a larger area for this smaller particles and shit to clear out faster, okay? I know, not everyone was expecting bongs to turn into fucking rocket science, but here we go. Speaking of rockets, we're going in 3, 2, 1, and blast off. Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention it. I've eaten about 1.5 grams of mushrooms tonight. So I am feeling good. Real good. That's why I was trying not to let all this fucking negativity and shit bring me down, surrounding all this shit with Kick. So we're gonna try to right the shit. It's kind of funny that they were asking for solutions during the Twitter space because the action of holding the Twitter space in and of itself is a step in the right direction. That is a solution in and of itself, right? Bringing the whole community in, saying, hey guys, this is what happened. What can we do better? Give us some advice, right? That was awesome. Huge. The fact that you had big name sponsors and shit in there listening. Really dig that. Really dig the fact that these companies are so open to listening, you know, just to kind of getting everyone's point of view on things and digesting it and then making moves, right? I don't like this reactionary shit. I'm guilty of it as well. You know, did it earlier with Ice Poseidon, you know, tweeting shit and stuff like that, which mine was completely reactionary, I will admit that. Mine was completely reactionary. However, if I were to have not deleted those tweets, then I'd still stood by what I said. It's not like I don't stand by what I said. I just didn't want to keep throwing that out there, you know what I mean? So, that's why I went ahead and deleted those specific tweets. But, as far as, like, solutions go, there's a lot of things that we can do. Firstly, and this is kind of an amorphous thing that it would have to be organic. You can't just plan for this sort of shit, right? Now, I would assume you could maybe dedicate resources to it in terms of like financially and maybe like giveaways and shit like that. But yeah, it was definitely a double-edged sword. They should have moderated that. They could have done a hell of a lot better job in moderation. But anyway, when we see something like this, when we see an event like what we saw with Ice Poseidon, or when it's Fauci going on his fucking tangents and shit, when we see that, I think part of the reason why it gets perpetuated is because we all keep talking about it. Just like this mass shooter thing. Now, granted, mass shootings aren't going to stop just because we stop talking about them, right? But I think preventing a lot of this shit from blowing up out of proportion would be, when we see it, get your quick little blurb in, say how you feel, get it out, and then immediately counter it. Immediately counter it with something else. Say like, hey, just an example, you know what, I don't even want to name anyone. I'm not going to give any examples. So just say a big name streamer says, hey, I don't like this. Says, hey, to their community, says, hey guys, get all of your communities together, whoever's other streamers, get everyone together. We're going to get a fucking charity stream to go, going. We're going to get a fucking, we're going to get an outreach thing going. we're gonna get a thing going where we reach out to all the people like me and like all the other streamers that don't have any viewership, and we're gonna start pulling them in. And you know, we're gonna do a game show, or we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, we're gonna counteract their bullshit with positivity, like what you were saying. Again, that is an amorphous solution. That is an intangible solution, right? But one that is feasible and that you could use on the fly like that. You know, like if, again, I hate to use him as an example, but and it's maybe anecdotal, but I'm using his own example, as Tate was talking about at one time. They generated a bunch of money by simply throwing a big party. You know, they got all the booze, they did all the logistics of it, and just sent invites. You know, they sent a few invites to some dudes, and they knew that all those dudes were going to invite a bunch of chicks, right? And so that's what ended up happening, was just big old party. And again, I don't know if the story's true or not, but you get the whole, it was a sound idea, right? That's the point I'm trying to make. Oh yeah. Yeah, I missed the majority of it, so yeah, I can't speak on that, but I can definitely understand based on what I did see, and I can fully empathize and say you're probably correct, you know, based on what I did see. It probably did a little more damage than it helped, but it was a good thing overall. I think the content of it definitely could have been better, you know, but overall it was a good thing. It was a good way for other people to get some exposure too, even if that wasn't for the sake of it. I know that wasn't the goal, but you know, some people that maybe didn't have a voice before, or maybe felt like they didn't, they got some exposure. You know, they got to, hey, this person has good ideas, or this person is, you know, they're a cool person. Like I want to see more about them, and it was a good way to generate buzz, you know, just generate attention. So I like it. I think it's a good idea, but like, I think you said it too. They need to do it like weekly or bi-weekly even, you know, that would be great, but with way more moderation. Like, I mean, yeah, you gotta have like a fucking dump button ready for shit like what they pulled earlier, and just people talking over each other. You know, I know sometimes it's not the intention, dude. I've worked in tech support and customer service for the better part of 20 years, so I know sometimes there's technical problems where, or even just in cadence. You know, maybe I don't share the same cadence that someone else's mind does as they're hearing it, and maybe they want to respond or interject, and I'm like, oh fuck, I'm still talking, you know, or vice versa. Maybe I'm the one that like, I gotta get that thought out because I can't hold on to it, you know. So I get that too. There's a lot that plays into it. But they definitely need to do a better job of moderation, no doubt. Maybe like a panel, you know, or have a panel of moderators where they're the ones that are sitting on the dump button. Like, hey, someone fucks up, like they're out, or you know, shit starts getting chippy. You know, we got to throw them in timeout and you know, set them straight. All right, then let them back in. But what I heard earlier was just utter fucking insanity. And this is the thing, Nacho. I'm an incredibly weird, complex individual. I'll tell you that right now. And the reason I say that is because in a situation, just like what you just said, right? This thing was fucked, right? The way he went off in that trolling that he did, right? The whole trolling thing that Breeze was talking about. Forgive me. You're going to have to forgive me here, okay? I'm in agreement with y'all. I want to make that clear. I am in agreement with y'all. But there is that back part of my brain where I'm like, okay, yeah, I can kind of understand how someone might see that as funny and like he was trolling or whatever, right? I don't see it as funny at all, like in the slightest. I thought it was fucking disgusting. But it coming from a fucked up sort of situation when you're a kid, right? And if you're in a fucked up situation when you're a child, or at least are able to recognize that a situation is fucked up and not normal, you can then understand how others may see that as funny or humorous, you know. Again, doesn't excuse it, don't agree with it in the slightest, but I can understand how other people can see that as funny. because of the fact that I've been in those situations, or I've known someone that's been in those situations. So it's understandable. But again, the other side of that, I've also known people that have been on the other side, right? That have been the victims. So, it's fucking disgusting all around. And what bothers me the most, though, isn't that people find things funny when people find things atrocious, or vice versa. It's, I think it's those that egg it on. Those are the ones that get to me more than anything. Because, like, I've laughed at some fucked up shit in my time, right? Like, hell, I mean, to this day, like, dark humor is just part of my personality. It is. But even I have my fucking reservations. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, dude, there's some shit that I just know. I'll give you a perfect example. I will give you a perfect fucking example, okay? Rape jokes. Rape is not funny. Never has been. There will never be anything funny about rape. However, and I'm no comedian, but if you take someone like a Bill Burr or a Dave Chappelle, and they can make something into a joke, that shit is hilarious because I can remove that part of my brain from that equation and like, okay, this is funny, but it's still really fucking horrible, right? Fucking rape is still fucking horrible, but that joke the dude said was funny. It just is. Funny is funny. I don't give a fuck what it is, right? If it's funny, it's funny. But again, there's certain things that just shouldn't be joked about in the first place, is kind of the thing. Now, rape as a concept should not be joked about. But when you're sitting there like again, the way Bill Burr, I think, said it, I don't want to quote him here because I can't remember it, but essentially they're not using rape as the tool. Rape is like kind of peppered in there, but it's not the fucking point of the joke. And I think that's where a lot of people, like, they pull back and they're like, whoa, what the fuck, dude? And it's like, hold on, listen to the words he says, then digest it. And it's like, okay, all right, he wasn't saying anything about the action. He's talking, he's saying something totally different and using this as like a shock value sort of thing. Again, I can pull up some fucking examples off the internet if y'all want to go over them. I'd be more than happy to. Because Chappelle does the same shit. Now, again, that is a fucking comedian, a professional. I don't mind them doing it. If there's some fucking clown on his goddamn stream, just sitting there popping off about it, no. I don't agree with that shit. Like, and it's not the difference of, because they have an audience, right? Because Chappelle and Burr and all them have audiences. That's not the thing. It's because of the way they're going about doing it. And their language that they use. Like, if you actually listen to what they say not only makes sense, it's fucking hysterical. That's why they get paid the big bucks to do it. Right? So, again, I'll never fucking laugh at anyone that got raped, ever. But I will laugh at a fucking Bill Burr joke that has the word in it. I'm sorry, because it's sorry, not sorry sort of thing. Because, again, if it's that... Now, if the dude says something that crosses the line, of course, then I'll be like, yo, that's fucked. But simply talking about it is not, to me, sufficient to, like, try to cancel someone or to try to be like, oh, that guy's an asshole because he's talking about it, because they are subjects that need to be fucking discussed. And comedy is one of the ways that, he's just fucking funny. And comedy is one of the ways that we get to be able to discuss that. We don't have to talk about it in a comedic sense, right? That's not the point. But the point is to get you to fucking think. Just think about it, period. That's the point. But there's entirely too many people in this country that have lost all the function of logic. They've lost all critical thinking ability. They just become emotional fucking monsters, and it's, not just me first, but me only and fuck everybody else, right? And I understand that, again, to an extent, you do have to put yourself first, right? In almost anything you do, unless you got a family, right? If you got a family comes, and then your family, But we're around here, we're family. But you get what I'm saying. Like, it's, yeah, same thing. Murphy, Carlin, all those dudes. But again, that's why they make the big bucks. You don't see fucking clowns like me over here fucking making rape jokes and shit. Like, the fuck? Because I wouldn't do it. That's the thing. You know, I may laugh at the dudes that do it, but there's a reason those guys get paid to do it. And I don't. Right? So, what's it called? Oh, so, you know, like I said, you do have to kind of put yourself first, especially in this day and age. But this whole complete, total disregard for your other human being, and I don't want to even say man anymore because of this whole thing, you know, this whole climate that we're in. But in terms of how you identify yourself, I don't give a fuck, right? Don't care. If you want to present yourself as a specific way, I will accept you no matter what, right? The only time I start taking issue is when we start fucking around with future generations. Okay, that's when I take issue, and for multiple reasons. But I mean, from a moral standpoint, but also because of the fact that you could quite literally undermine your own future without even realizing it, your legacy, without even realizing it. So, people really need to fucking watch what they wish for, and people need to sit back and think about what they're doing instead of just doing it and then accepting the consequences. Now, if you can get away with that, more power to you. Right? Not gonna knock the hustle. But if you're just gonna dive headlong, fuck the consequences, and you deserve everything you have coming to you. And I gotta admit, I mean, I've been one of those from time to time, you know. Hell, I was with the streaming thing, but even then, with the streaming thing, I fell into the streaming thing through recording my gameplays and all that, and just kind of continued into doing that and not making videos, which is what I should have kept doing. Kind of got myself sidetracked, but in that respect, yes, I dove headlong, but I was fully aware of the fucking consequences, and I didn't mind it, right? So, I have what I have. And there's a reason why I have what I have. I can change it. I'm just too fucking